Nice throw.
Right.
And he went for it again.
Oh,
And it
there we
worked.
go.
And it worked.
The damage. Watch the damage.
And this is the time he needed it to work, and now it's done it. Damage ender?
60%! 60%! Bro! This game's crazy. And that's game!
It.
2 combos and he's dead! My god! This Glacius is crazy!
Oh my god.
Look at him go!
DD, if we're going to talk about anyone who's
Dude, he's
like...
Ultra Combo!
Well, hello again, and welcome back to the Salt Shaker podcast. Now, we're going to dip back into the world of Killer Instinct, and I thought I'd grab a very special person. Take it away, DD.
Hi. So my name is Daniel, but everyone calls me DD. Or Tag at the moment is the real DlimDhady, which I guess stems from there being quite a few DDs in the Australian scene now, so I had to distinguish myself a little bit. Yeah.
No, it's good to have you on the show, man. And you're quite a prominent figure over the shores of Australia, and KI, really taking some big names out. Give us some backstory on your lore, how you discovered the FGC.
Oh, sure. So, I hope you don't mind. There's a little bit of a story to this one. So basically, I started. I guess I discovered fighting games when I was in high school. So, when I was in year 12, I went to school and grew up in an area called Box Hill, which any Victorians listening will know the area pretty well. It was basically the area that had our prominent arcade, and I was fortunate enough to live there. And what me and my high school mates would do is when we had free classes in the middle of the day, we'd go down to Box Hill, because Box Hill's like a massive hub area basically, right? So there's like restaurants down there, and it's a pretty lively area. So we'd go down there and hang out at the arcade and stuff. And one day we go down there towards the end of 2008, and Vanilla Street Fighter 4's there.
Yeah.
And we had no idea what it was, but like we'd never seen the arcade so busy in the middle of the day, So, because it was real packed around that time, I guess, because everyone was trying to get their hands on the new game, and so yeah, me and my mates played casually for a year or two, and then around 2010, when Super Street Fighter 4 had come out, one of my mates from high school, Tan, he got real sucked into it all, right, and so he's like, "Hey man, like there's this thing called Evo coming up. You should come check it out. Come watch it. Come see all the pros and what goes on with the Street Fighter, at a higher level." So I went and watched Evo with my mate that year at his joint, and after that I was hooked. So I had a crappy weekend job. So what I did is saved up all my pennies, bought an Xbox, bought a 6 straight away, and started attending my first events towards the end of 2010.
Man.
Yeah.
Seems like a long time ago, eh?
Yeah, no, it was. And over the course of the years towards now, dabbled in a few different titles. But yeah, no, it's definitely been a bit of a journey.
That hype, because you experiencing that level of hype for Street Fighter, like its long-awaited return. You said you bought a stick and console. How heavy did you get hooked into it?
Oh man, it was such a, I don't know, it was such a weird, because you see, seeing it at the arcade and stuff is one thing, but to actually decide, what, I'm actually going to try and learn this stuff and put some time in and learn what goes on, at a higher level. We got stuck in. So me and my mate, we played mostly against each other to start with. So we had a fierce rivalry for years. And then every time we go to an event, we'd learn something new, so we'd want to go home and lab it and stuff. And especially those first few years when, you're a high school or uni student, you got a lot of free time too, So, we got real sucked in.
Mm. And since you primarily play Killer Instinct now, like looking back then, I mentioned this with Anu about how that interesting period of Killer Instinct, if it had released early and got that attention before Street Fighter 4 released, do you kind of feel that same thought pattern?
Yeah, look, I think the the biggest issue the game had for sure, especially because I mean I can speak from experience. I didn't pick it up back then, and it was just due to the console exclusivity.
Mm.
The fact that it was just on Xbox One, which was something that obviously we didn't, at least in Australia, we didn't use as the console standard. So it just fell off most people's radars instantly, dead on arrival.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's true. I knew it had I knew it had released. And it was the first game that did the whole seasonal content thing. But yeah, I knew it released, but it just never took off from what I saw.
Yeah, so I mean, there definitely was a scene here. I mean, Arnie was probably more poised to, I guess, fill you in on the olden days because that's definitely before my time. There was a scene, and there were people who played. I guess Dead on Arrival was probably the wrong way to put it, but yeah, it just I just didn't even really give it much attention because I had no way of playing it, and two, finding people to play with, few and far between.
Yeah. Had you known about Killer Instinct before the Xbox One, new one coming out?
Yeah, I played a little bit of the original on the Super Nintendo, just as a kid though. Like like a friend did have it, and we just muck around. Or so I knew of the franchise, but I'd never given it any real thought or time of day, kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Before fighting games, what were the type of games you were playing?
Oh, geez, I try to block this part of my life out, but I spent most of my high school years playing nothing but Dota.
Oh, hey, there's no shame in that, man. I've said this. There's so many fighting game players that play Dota or LoL or WoW or yeah. It's almost like a genetic thing. Like it's just they must play Dota on the side.
Yeah. So this was back in the Dota 1 days. Anyone who played Dota back then will probably be familiar with the Australian server called Board Aussies. Me and my mates, we'd all, one person bought the game, we'd all share it around. Obviously not condoning piracy or anything like that, but yeah, and that was it. That was our lives. If we could sneak a game in on the school computers during lunchtime or something, we'd try and do that too. It was just Dota.
Yeah. Well, tell me about your character. You play Glacius, and I would say, correct me if I'm wrong, but he would be the Dulcin of Street Fighter. So in terms of Zangief, you really hate characters that are brawling up in your face. What attracted you to this character?
Oh man, you're gonna hate me for this one, but the reason why I play Glacius is probably the most uninspired story. Basically, a mate of mine who told me about the, I guess, Killer Instinct revival at the start of last year. I asked him, I was like, hey, I'll give it a go. I'll give the game a crack. And I just asked him, who should I play? And he said, you're going to play Glacius. I started labbing Glacius, and that was it. He was right. He was on the money. A friend just told me to play the character, and it just clicked.
I see. Okay. Yeah. So
not much of a soul search at all, which was nice for a change, actually.
Yeah. And did you get much into his story, or like the redesign for him in the current version? He looks really good.
Yeah. No. The aesthetic is because I've seen what he looks like in the previous games, and it's kind of just a smooth Iceman. But now, what I really like about the character? Actually, I really like his like voice clips and the weird sounds he makes and stuff. It's very unique from the rest of the cast. Yeah. I don't think it really has much of a story. It's just kind of alien crashed on Earth kind of thing. But hey, it works for me.
Yeah, it's like No Man's Sky. He's just trying to get back home.
That's it. That's it.
Also, you were on the Beast Dance podcast with some of your other Killer Instinct brethren, or should I say, like the Killer Instinct ANZ scene, because that, in a sense, got birthed itself from this Killer Instinct resurgence.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so that's like you, and I'd heard of Goat as well in the past, and then there's Rowdy, good old Rowdy Howdy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but just like, what is the KIA ANZ scene like for those who aren't aware?
Sure. So, like you mentioned, there's myself, Goat, Rowdy Howdy, and another lad, Chef. So Chef was the one who actually started up the Discord and started trying to resurrect things at around the end of 2019. And it just started with him and Goat really just trying to find people who were interested in the game, pulling people back in, and 2020 there was just so many things that went right for Killer Instinct in regards to getting people to give the game the time of day, like the documentary we were talking about earlier, the whole Back to Block one.
That's good.
A great example. People just wanted to play something during lockdown that had good netcode, and I think it took 2020 for the FGC to realize that a lot of games aren't up to par with what we need to play online.
Yeah, I made that comment to Anu that it took a good 5-6 years for people to actually get the message. And it's a shame that we had to wait for something pretty bad for it to get its moment in the spotlight. But it filled that void that a lot of people finally are giving it the attention. This whole resurgence thing has been crazy. So like, I don't know, how do you think, how strong is the KIANZ scene? Where do you stack yourself, man? I guess just overall, like considering the amount of players that you guys have, because there's a lot. We don't have many obviously here. There's Anu, but it's mainly Australian, the core of it.
Yeah. So it's really funny. I was thinking about this last night because I remember watching the episode you did with Anu, and like even in like the 6 to 7 months since Anu's on, like a lot of things have changed for the better.
Yeah.
So I'd say we're a decent region. I think we're definitely not on par with probably most of the Americans, but we actually had a top player from South America recently moved to New Zealand, and this guy Yorsh has been cleaning us up free. It's been something else. Like, we can't touch this guy.
Do you know where he's staying? Do you know whereabouts he's?
He may have mentioned it, but I don't know off the top of my head. I'm sorry. But this guy is something else. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if this guy could dance with the best of the best overseas. I don't doubt that. But the rest of us, we're getting there. We've definitely got a big spread of player levels, which is good because everyone has someone their own level to play with. It's not polarizing or it's just the veterans and just the new players anymore. I feel like we've really filled that gap.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've been trying to actually organize events with the guys in Japan and the guys in the Philippines. See where we sit with them.
Okay.
But yeah.
What I love, what I love about your scene is I get very similar vibes from the Marvel scene. You guys just love the game and you love to get hype, and it's really interesting to watch.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think KI and Marvel, most of my Marvel experiences with Marvel Free, so correct me if I'm wrong, but the games just both have ways where you can feel really strong, and it's not just you who feels strong as the player, but the viewer can see when something's going someone's way. And if as a player you want to win, it's really easy to get behind them. It's like, if you're cheering for someone and then they hit a happy birthday in Marvel, right? Or, they clean up someone's characters and then get that mix up on the incoming. You really, like, you can tell, like, they're going to win, right? And they get to style, they get to finish their combo, and you feel that with them. And it's the same in KI where, someone you want to win hits that counter breaker or is landing that, you get that final lockout, and you can get behind them in the same way for sure.
Yeah. So like after a hard day of work or just normal life, if you're not playing KI, what would we catch you doing to kind of unwind for the day?
Geez, what do I do outside of KI? look, usually it's I don't know, either mucking around with other fighting games or um, maybe sometimes I probably don't look like it from the camera view here, but I don't mind going to the gym. I do a bit of CrossFit actually, which is maybe a questionable type of gym routine by some people's standards, but I like to have that competitive aspect in a lot of parts of my life.
No, true.
But also I live with my fiance. I'm somewhat of a family man, so I spend time with the missus, and we're looking to get married and buy a house in the near future. So sometimes,
best of luck, man. Yeah.
Thank you.
No.
So sometimes I'm just at home planning life stuff, which you gotta do it.
Yeah. I mean, I know it's pretty shitty circumstances, but what is it like over there right now with COVID? I haven't really been following the news.
So I'm in Victoria, so it's not the worst. We did have like a snap lockdown a couple of weeks ago, where we couldn't leave the house for 5 days. We had like another one of those hotel breakout kind of situations.
Yeah.
But at the moment, it's okay. Like I go to the office a couple of days a week, and I only really have to wear my mask on public transport at the moment. So that's a nice change from last year. We got to travel interstate at the very end of last year because my fiance's family, they live in Tasmania, and we didn't know if we'd even get to see them at all last year. So that was a nice surprise.
Yeah.
So it's not the worst. We're getting out of it slowly but steadily.
Yeah.
Definitely a lot better than it was, middle of last year situation kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm well aware that even though things have calmed down over here, we're at level 1 out of a level 4 alert situation for COVID. We just had one of our majors announced, but I'm still aware that stuff could go downhill again. And just that reminder, like sometimes, like I know I'm speaking for our scene, that we've kind of let our guard a little bit down because like we're just so comfortable, but it like COVID hasn't disappeared. It's weird kind of telling yourself that every day.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, we've had some locals here that have like been booked in, planned, and then last minute cancelled because of restrictions going up again, or like I think we were planning on having like a 90-man event a few weeks ago, and then all of a sudden that had to get cut down to 20, like over the course of a couple of days. Like it's just so hard to predict. All you can do is accept that it's going to happen still for possibly the rest of this year, and make do with the numbers you can have, I guess.
Yeah. Hey, tell me now. I saw you play at the surf on the surf and turf. That prize that Goat gave you.
Yes.
What was that game? Because he's like, I can't even believe I'm showing this on stream, but
something
about waifus.
Did you see him showing the clip?
Yeah.
It's called The Last of Waifus. It looks like someone just wanted to make a real poverty Last of Us ripoff in Unity or something. You're literally just some generic anime girl model with a gun, and there's just, I don't know, default generic zombie skin zombies just running at you, and that's pretty much the extent of the gameplay as far as I can tell. Look, Goat loves to give out his novelty gifts.
Yeah.
Usually it's for the bracket predictions, right? So before the tournament starts in challenge, you can do the whole predict how you think the bracket's going to go. My bracket, I didn't take too seriously. I just put myself to win a lot of games.
Yeah.
And I actually had a really good night, as it turns out. So,
you had a very good run.
My own cockiness won me a game on Steam. Thanks, Go.
Nah, cheers, Goat. We'll definitely touch on that on your run a bit later on, especially against, particularly on who it was against, because it looks like you got your run back very well, very sweet.
Yes.
And Goat, yeah, quite the ambassador for this game. He has such big heart. I heard about this dude long before KI was being pushed out from Australia. Like, this guy is the one person you want to shill a game.
Yeah, geez, how can I summarize Goat? He's just one of the most passionate people I have ever met. I've met some passionate people in the FGC over my time, for sure, and he's up there with the top. with Goat, like he's definitely had his successes and his failures, but like as we all do. But where people would quit and give up and throw in the towel, Goat just I don't know how he does it. He's just so good at getting back up on his horse and running the next event, getting the next event going, getting the next game going. And for him to have his whole energy behind Killer Instinct at the moment is huge for us. So very thankful to have him on board.
Would you say there's any part of your gameplay where you adapt that same level of energy, where it's just after every set you're just going in full steam?
I don't know. I don't want to say that I tilt easy. I don't think that's true, but yeah, no, you've got me with that one. I'm not sure. I haven't really thought about it.
I don't know. I guess because of your character, as I was watching you play, they did say that you were playing a lot more patient than you naturally were.
Right. I think I know the particular set that you're talking about there, and that was part of the plan. That was so usually I think I probably am a bit more aggressive with Glacius, but sometimes instead of playing the character matchup, you got to play the player matchup, and that's something to keep in mind, I guess. So sometimes you got to play patient and to get the W, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, especially because as we're seeing now, Goat and Howdy's Backyard Brawl series, the player that you ran into at the Surf and Turf was the same one that you had to face in your I guess you could call it your debut into the Backyard Brawl series.
Yeah, that's right. So I guess I can let the cat out of the bag now, right? So we're talking about Rob Dog, right?
Yeah, good old Robbie.
Yeah, so it's just a friendly rivalry between me and Rob. Don't let the tea bag fool you. We have a bit of back and forth. He'll body me one set, I'll body him the next. But yeah, Rash gives me a lot of trouble. So the strategy in the Surf and Turf was just to sit back and just see if he'd hang himself. And I was very fortunate in that he kind of took the bait.
Is Rash his main character? What is it about the Rash matchup? Is it a character specific thing?
It is a character specific thing. It's also a Rob thing in that Rob doesn't have a dedicated main. Rob plays I'd say he plays half the cast, whereas I'm a bit of a 1 to 2 character guy. I don't want to say one trick pony. I've been trying to learn other characters, but Rob knows that he can get under my skin with Rash, so why not abuse that against me?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because we did host that Killer Instinct first team with you and Hans.
Yes.
And when I did the card title things, I thought, what would be a good category? And then I think one of you guys said Backyard Brawl Demon. And so seeing that you had to face Rob for the Surf and Turf, I thought, right, man, that's going to be a good one.
Yeah, no, well, I know Goat and Howdy were looking forward to that match potentially happening as well. So, yeah, I mean, me and Rob meet in bracket all the time, so I'm sure it won't be the last time. And I know that next time he gets a chance to take a swing back at me, he'll definitely jump at the opportunity.
And I just, if we're talking about KI, there's definitely one person in the wider FGC that we need to mention. I guess a very active agent in bringing this game back into the limelight is good old Maximilian Dude. I always thought he was a Street Fighter because I'm just a Tekken dude. I always thought he was just a Street Fighter Marvel player. I had no idea that Killer Instinct was the game that made him competitive, that got him into our scene.
Yeah, Max has been. I mean, even in the quieter years for KI, he's always featured the game every now and again and promoted things. But yeah, the miles he's gone to, especially over the past 12 months, you can see it on the screen right now. The Bring Back KI hashtag. He's done multiple videos many times about what this game means to people, as a franchise, as nostalgia, but also as a solid modern day fighting game that maybe people have overlooked. And it's for him to run the events that he's done in recent times, especially the Twitch Rivals event, have been huge.
Has there ever been a tournament outside of Evo it's hard to define. Outside of Evo, outside of any of the American big major tournaments, like Killer Instinct, that drew a lot of people, a lot of attention.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned that, but I reckon this Twitch Rivals event that Max ran, viewership wise on Twitch, probably outclassed all the ones you just mentioned.
Yeah, that's why I was like, it's kind of hard to define because this was obviously done just in a day, Evo's over the space of a few days, so I guess, yeah, that nostalgia factor, nostalgia. It's just like when I was looking at the numbers, I was thinking, holy shit, this is a game that came out 2013, and it's still going strong.
I wonder if it's also perhaps like people maybe just seeing something different featured on Twitch, something you wouldn't always see, like, oh, what's this game? This looks different, this looks interesting. And yeah, the numbers definitely swung in our favor. I was watching Nicky's stream before the event started, and he was saying things like, oh man, I don't think we'll hit 10,000, but imagine if we got 10,000 viewers for KI kind of thing, And I'm pretty sure we cleared 50,000, which is insane. So, yeah, I don't know how Max did it, or how Twitch, managed to help us pull in that many viewers. But it was a great event, and we felt the presence in Australia too. Like we got a lot of people jumping into our Discord and joining our community after that event.
With the success of the event, and with people recognizing Killer Instinct more, is there a little bit of yourself that says to people subconsciously, I told you so? I told you so. It's like the net code is good. The game isn't shit. It's like, just give it a go.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm still a bit of a, fresh in myself when it comes to KI, but I definitely know some of the veterans feel that way. I know Anu feels that way. Yeah, no, definitely. But it also has the opposite effect where people who are getting into it now are like, oh, I wish I had an opportunity to play this, a few years prior.
Yeah, it's prime, yeah. Oh, you did mention Nikki FGC.
Yes.
Definitely another player pushing this game. It seems like the Americans just, Combo Breaker, it's named after the fucking announcer.
Yeah, that's right.
So, yeah, it's like, it's so rooted in FGC history, and it's really good to kind of see it. I've never seen this kind of resurgence from any game, I guess. Like, not at this level.
I'd say the only thing I could compare it to is so Melee went through a very similar thing when I don't know if you've seen the Melee documentary that came out. Well, it's probably close to 5 years ago now, maybe even more. Similar thing happened to Smash Melee when it got into Evo, and it's kind of cool to kind of relive a resurgence like that again with KI.
Are there any overseas players that you would love to run into this World Tour setting?
Oh, jeez, where do I begin?
Any glaciers any glaciuses you want to hunt out?
Yeah, well, there's definitely there's two glaciuses that come to mind. So there's one Carnitas who actually joined our Discord just for, I guess, social reasons. Definitely one of the best glaciuses in the world at the moment. And then there's also Skatefast, another top Glacius player from the States. So, I mean, I see a lot of their tech. I watch a lot of their matches. So, definitely two that I wouldn't mind, picking the brains of every now and again. That'd be nice.
What is a Glacius mirror match like? Is it just both of you from far away trying to do hail or mid-screen doing ice lance?
Yeah, it's not very fun. It's I mean, I could be wrong, but I feel like after playing it a bit, it's whoever's got the most hails still out at any given time wins. You don't want to be the first to let go of the hail, I feel. As soon as you don't have control on the screen, like the other Glacius is, in charge.
Yeah, and like I have seen that Blasted Salami video, so like because of his large hitbox, there is stuff that he can't avoid as well. So I guess he's always a constant target to get. You have to block a.
Yeah, so Glacius does have liquidize, so he can temporarily melt under the ground. But that's all you got really.
Okay.
Or his DP is invincible, so you can I guess try and DP through stuff, but it's all risk.
Okay. So I guess now I'll mention the Killer Instinct World Tour opportunity that KIA&Z able to secure. Now, where does the credit go to? Does it go to GOAT mainly, or was it a whole collective thing?
I would say it was definitely. So it was weird. So there was three of us. So there's me, Chef, and Goat, who all reached out when they said, "Hey, we want communities to contact us. We want everyone to reach out, so we can set up events." So the three of us did, and Goat was the only one who got a bite. So Goat obviously ran with it. So everything beyond that first contact, definitely credit goes to Goat, and he's basically our main liaison with them now. But we all rushed him as soon as we could to, so one of us could get that hook in.
That's good, man. What did it mean for you guys, knowing that you could be a part of this international event, like actually Australia taking part in the World Tour?
So Goat had a really good story about this on the Beast Dance, where it was like Christmas dinner when he found out, and he didn't know what to do. It was weird. I don't know if we expected it, or like if we did get in, we thought we'd get maybe one event tops, but instead it's our monthlies that count, and that's massive for us because before now we've had nothing. And it's no one's fault. It's not like we've been deliberately excluded. I guess we've just had no one driving it like we've had Goat driving things now. But it's huge. For a game that's had almost no recognition in Australia to now be part of the World Tour, it's a real achievement.
Yeah. What has been the Surf and Turf Wars like for you personally?
They've been intense, I'll say that much. They've been real interesting ordeals. The first Surf and Turf War we had was actually the first event that Yorsh, the lad from overseas, first entered. So we didn't really know what this guy was capable of. So we knew someone good from overseas had entered our event, but like we had no idea what was going to happen, and it turned into a really, maybe dramatic's the wrong word to use, but it had a good storyline in that someone comes out of nowhere, cleans up your whole community, and then that kind of sent us into a bit of disarray for a month, where before the next Surf and Turf War, everyone wants to. So the guy mains Hisako, so for the next month, everyone's trying to figure out how to deal with this Hisako and learning the matchup and because. If we can't beat this guy, then we obviously want to be that person in second, right? So,
yeah. Okay.
Get those juicy points.
Did you see any matches against Yorsh from one of your own players that you thought, he can just read him so well, like a book?
As in Yorsh can read them, or
Yorsh can read them. Sorry, yeah.
Oh, well, actually...
It was was there any player you saw versus him that was more like a moth to the flame setting? It was like, oh,
yeah, man. Look, unfortunately, it was probably me.
Oh, no.
I had a set with him in the last Surf and Turf, what was it, a couple of days ago, and the whole set was over in minutes. It was... Yeah, so his pocket character or secondary, if you will, is Glacius, and he reckons Hisako versus Glacius is an amazing matchup for him. And he's shown that to me multiple times now.
Oh, no.
No, it's okay. It's all part of the journey, right? It's all part of
Yeah.
It's all part of fighting games.
In this last Surf and Turf, did he came first again? Yeah.
Yes, he did.
And you
Spoiler
came
alert,
fourth? It was fourth, right?
Fourth,
yeah, definitely against Rob Dog. Thank goodness. What was it like that set against him, man?
Against Rob?
Yeah.
Well, like I said earlier, I came into this rematch with Rob with a game plan because I knew he was going to play Rash. He's been very vocal about how bad I am against Rash, and he's a man of his word and a man of pride. So I knew he wanted to back those words up. So I had to come up with a plan, and the plan was to do nothing really. I just let him hang himself a bit, and it worked.
Do nothing.
Yeah, well, like just hit that down back, you know.
Yeah.
See, the problem with Rash is that I can't really zone in a traditional sense because if I throw hails, Rash can eat the hail, and it's not that he just removes the projectile; it's that so you have two blocks apart, right? And so if Rash eats a hail, he gets about half a block off that. So if he eats two hails, he's got a shadow move ready to go instantly. It's absurd, but it really messes with my game plan. And it's the same with if I try and keep him out of the air, like with my jump kicks, they're kind of like the Dalsim aerial kicks.
Yeah.
But the problem is he'll do the Rash Wrecking Ball, and that has armor, so that goes through it, and he's in. So I can't really set up a wall against Rash. I've really got to wait it out and just hope that he comes at me and I find an opening.
Okay. So, in that sense, who would be a really good matchup against Rash, character-wise?
Well, see, that's the thing. Rash is probably the character to beat in this game. He's up there. So I don't know if there's any particular matchups he strictly has a hard time with. Maybe Tusk. Just because Tusk has big normals that kind of reach ground and air right and kind of swipe him away. Otherwise, you've just got to play that, I guess, 5-5 matchup with one of the other top tiers.
Yep. Okay. Well, just for fun, the answer might be obvious, but who would you predict to take out the next Surf and Turf? And who would you predict to take out the KI World Cup overall?
Ooh. Next Surf and Turf, I think. So look, it's no secret I'm a little bit of a gambling man. I think you'd be a fool to bet against Yorsh, especially after the last Surf and Turf. He won Grand Finals 3-0. It wasn't even really close. Do I think people can take games off him? Definitely, but to actually take a tournament off him, I hope to see it.
Yeah. Well, what do you think? What do you think it will take?
A lot of lab work. Someone's got to just put in the yards, a lot of yards on that one matchup. I definitely think people can do it. He's not invincible, but the guy's crazy. Sorry, I know I haven't directly answered your question yet, but
that's all right.
Yorsh is like every time he gets a knockdown with me, he'll do a new mix-up I've never seen. He's just got like an unlimited array of mix-ups. I've never seen anyone play a character in a game like Yorsh plays Hisako. Like the guy is just obviously labbed so many things I can't even comprehend. It's insane. But to win the World Tour overall, I'd say the current favorite is probably Hologram, probably, who plays Thunder, if I'm not mistaken, at the moment. Or there's an American player, Alex V, who's been winning a lot of the American qualifiers at the moment with Rash.
Okay, Rash just seems like a very popular choice. I mean, I would assume he's strong because I see him a lot
definitely.
in the KO tournaments. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah. Definitely top candidate for top one. Really, definitely top 3.
Okay. Well, we did mention it previously, and we can go through it now. That because I watched that documentary, the whole Back to Block, just to understand a bit more about the history of Killer Instinct, and I thought it was very insightful. It was great. And there are some talking points, obviously, that we could go over if you like. The whole the transition from Double Helix to Iron Galaxy, because season 1 they had the characters, And then season 2, there was a big direction, but it kind of gave KI a new boost in life. How do people see the characters from season 2 onwards?
It's a good question. I have heard a lot of accounts from the more veteran guys about how the feelings were at the time. I think a lot of the season 1 characters, you look at them and they're very Street Fighter-esque, I guess, on face value. They're very playing to their tropes. So now you throw in these wacky season 2 characters with all kinds of new mechanics and new ideas, and you know, it's worked out well now in that, you know, now obviously the games have time to develop and the game's more balanced and such. But it sounds like for the players who played through season 2, it was quite a rough time. Some characters like Kanra and Maya and stuff, when they came out, were just absurdly strong. And I know that was a deterrent for some people. And towards the end of season 2, I know that shook off some people as well. But I guess it depends on what kind of game you're after. Because if you're after a Street Fighter clone, some of the later characters in Killer Instinct won't make you happy.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. Okay, well, who is your most pain in the ass character from season 2, and the same for season 3? I think I asked Anu that as well.
All right. Season 2. Season 3 is an easy one. I hate Gargos with a passion. I hate Gargos.
I think a lot of people don't. Yeah, Gargos is the pick.
If you're not Anu playing Gargos, then yeah, you hate Gargos. Most hated from season 2. I don't know. Probably, it probably is Kanra, actually. Even though he's not a menace at all anymore, he still gives Glacius a hard time. So I'll go with Kanra.
Okay, Kanra and Gargos.
Yeah.
Here's a question for you, man. Has KI earned a sequel after all this attention it's got?
I definitely think so. I don't see how, with all this attention, all this free marketing, Microsoft just don't want to touch the IP anymore. There's clearly a market for it. There's room to grow. I mean, I guess you could say the fighting game market is obviously a bit saturated at the moment, but there's a niche there to be filled. So, there's demand for it. I don't see a reason why not.
Mm-hmm. I did mention that.
Of course, sorry.
No, you go, bro. You go.
I was just gonna say I'm not a Microsoft exec though, so you know I don't have much say in the matter.
Well, that's that setback, right? That it got released well after Street Fighter 4. Like, people were like, that was the game people followed, and then for Killer Instinct to come after, it was just it was an afterthought. But then it coming out on Xbox, being Xbox exclusive, seeing where things are going now, like, I don't know, in terms of being console exclusive, like the next installment, if there was one, should it be console exclusive?
If they don't want to sell it to Sony, I could understand that, but at least give us a PC version of the bat. If they really hard locked it to just the new Xbox again, I don't know. I think it would struggle in the same way.
Yeah. I liked, like, watching this documentary. I liked Sajam explaining the combo system, how it was like creating a sandwich.
Yep.
It's got a unique combo system as well as the music. That's the one thing that I liked, is the crazy the combos get, the louder the music gets. Like, it just escalates. Like, it just gets your heart beating.
Yeah, for sure. Look, I think that's something that Mick Gordon's notorious for nowadays, especially. So to have a composer like that working on the soundtrack in what has been designed to be a dynamic system musically, is amazing. And I tell you what, sometimes it just adds to that feeling of strength you feel when you land something on someone.
Yeah. Well, if KI, how would I say it? If Australia could have its major this year, you know, and KI could be there in full effect, what would be one thing you'd love to see for new players, for new people, new eyes to experience?
You know, it's something you mentioned earlier, actually, and I think that would be the best thing, would be to see and hear not just the game and the audio, but to hear the crowd get excited when all of a sudden the bass explodes around the game. You know, it would be something like a Marvel experience, and then it grabs people's attention. You know, people want to see what's going on over there, what's making all that noise. You know, I mean, you know, we're obviously going to be a smaller game. We're going to be on at a you know, not prime time spot in a major, but that doesn't mean we can't get behind the game, make noise, get attention, and drag people in. So, yeah, definitely the kind of things I think people. It's not only that I would want them to see, but I think it's unavoidable with KI. So.
Yeah. And what about you, my man? What would be your next goal for Killer Instinct, or just for Killer Instinct ANZ?
Look, it's a small goal, but the first monthly we have in Victoria, we wanna start running brackets again. Howdy's got the gear to make it happen.
Yeah.
We've got lots of Victorian players ready to go. We've gotten blessings from Couch Warriors to run stuff. They're fully behind us, fully supportive. It's basically the road to BAM. If we can keep the momentum going into a BAM, then I have no doubt in my mind we'll be able to run something at BAM. And yeah, but the same thing goes for New South Wales too. I know Goat and Chef, they've already been running stuff before COVID happened, but they're ready to gain similar thing. They want to start a road into OHN. And also we've just recently got in contact with some TOs in Perth, and they want to start running stuff over there too offline, which was a pleasant surprise. It's the same kind of thing. We just want to see people actually play the game offline and then celebrate it while we can.
Yeah, I'm gonna sound rude, but every time I hear one of our tournaments get announced and then it gets cancelled because of COVID, I'm just like, I'm over this shit, man. Like, COVID can just fuck. Like, you know what I mean? Like, when you cancel an offline event, I'm just like, oh god. Like, I know it's COVID, I get it, but every time it happens, like, there's a little bit of selfishness. Like, you motherfucker. Oh.
Yeah, well, I've actually, this is kind of an interesting tidbit. I've only ever actually played KI offline once to date.
When was that? When was that?
It would have been, I reckon, December last year. There's a Australian Street Fighter player, CO.
CO, yes.
So it turns out him and Rowdy Howdy are actually good mates pre-FGC. And CO moved recently to not too far from me. So we got together at CO's joint, had a few drinks, played some KI.
Nice.
Yeah. That's the only time I've been able to play offline.
Oh, okay. You must, I mean, the online's great, but you must be, you're thriving for some offline action.
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting because it'll be interesting to see how well I can adapt without the inherent input delay and that kind of stuff, you know?
Mm. All right, my brother, I'll take you to your final round segment. Just some just, just some questions here and there.
Sure, let's go.
All right, sweet. First one, would you want a Killer Instinct / Mortal Kombat crossover?
Yeah, I mean, look, both franchises definitely have distinct characters. Why not pit them against each other?
Sweet. Next one. At present, what would be the most played song you listen to in your music library?
Or I reckon it is. It's Uppercuts by Tara Reid, I reckon. So probably better known to your audience as Getter, who is a dubstep producer, but he's started a rap career on the side, and it's got real old school vibes. It's really dope. Highly recommend.
Nice. All right. Idol or Gargos?
That's an easy one. Idle all day, baby.
Yeah. Yeah. What's the most luxurious dinner you've ever had?
Ooh. I've had a few dinners with the missus at Crown Casino. I don't know. Actually, no, it's probably. I had a Christmas party last year at this new company I work for. It's a small company, and the boss goes all out. So we went to a fancy place at Fed Square. It was like a 7-course tasting thing with like, and he was just constantly buying the most expensive bottles of Chardonnay and stuff there. It was insane, next level. So yeah, thanks to the boss for that one.
All on the company card. Hey, what fighting game franchise do you think could or does surpass KI's netcode?
Oh, I tell you what, if you asked me this question a week ago, I might not have had an answer for you. But everyone's raving about this Guilty Gear Strive.
They are, man. I'm like, is it really?
So you've been set up, I think. I didn't get a chance to play the Strive beta, but pretty much everyone else I know did, and no one can shut up about how good this netcode was. So clearly, I think that's the one to beat going forward.
All right. Yeah. What's one thing you can say to your dog, but not your girlfriend?
Is this a classic? What's line?
Oh,
question,
you know it, man.
Yeah.
Whose line is it anyway?
I think I know the classic answer as well. I won't repeat it here, but look, my girlfriend's pretty chill. I don't think there's anything I could say that would really offend her at this point. We've been together for almost 12 years, so if I haven't scared her off already, I don't think there's much I can say that would now.
All right. What would be your pitch for an Australian character in Killer Instinct?
Oh, wow. It's not even just Killer Instinct. I think we need more Australian characters in all the fighting game franchises, right? Clearly lacking. Look, I've seen a lot of people always do this whole design an Australian character, and it's always some like Crocodile Dundee looking guy, right?
Or green is always their
hair.
their uniform fighter gear has green in it or something. Yeah.
Yep. It's usually the guy looks like Paul Hogan in his prime. He's got like he's got a wide brim hat on, and he's got a knife of some kind. He's ready to shank. He's got a beer ready to go.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Or I know Tekken's already kind of done it, but the boxing kangaroo, you can't go past that. I reckon that'd be a good fit in Killer Instinct. Actually, boxing kangaroo, I think it'd work pretty well.
All right. Which is more important to you, creativity or efficiency?
In KI, I think it's definitely important to be creative. So I do like to think I have a little bit of a creative streak. But I'm also quite a bit of an organized and almost OCD person. So efficiency is probably the one for me.
All right. What's been your best competitive moment?
So in between playing Street Fighter and Killer Instinct, I played Guilty Gear for a couple of years, and I had a rival in New South Wales. I keep finding rivals. Anyway, we both went to Tasmanian Major, Tassie Fighter Con, which, by the way, if you've never been to, I highly recommend going to Tasmania for their major at some point. It's the best run major in Australia, I reckon, because it's so chill. We decided to settle it there in a first to 5, and I won 5-0, and it was just the most satisfying money match / grudge match for me ever. It was good because he was really good. He's a really good anime player. So it was not free by any means. I just things went my way.
And finally, DD, who is your waifu?
Well, I mean, look, I mean, Eno and Guilty Gear, so I guess that's probably a safe bet. Go with Eno, I reckon.
Do you like her look in Strive?
Oh, dude, she looks sick in Strive. I love the redesign. I know that's again something else everyone's been raving about, but it's true. I think they've it sounds like what they wanted to do was move away from some of the blatant, pervertedness, I guess you could say, and give her more of that rock witch look back. And I reckon they've nailed it.
Hey, Didi, it's been such a pleasure to have you on, man. Thank you so much. Is there anything you'd like to tell the people that follow you, or any last words or shout outs?
Oh, sure. Yeah, look, you can already see it below. Twitch.tv/DlimDhady. I stream mostly the more casual side of things. But yeah, you can catch me there. You can follow my Twitter. I mostly retweet dumb stuff, so maybe don't follow me there, actually.
Follow this man.
Yeah. Otherwise, you can find me. I'm pretty active on the KI Discord, obviously. If you have any questions relating to Glacius, that's probably the only thing I can really provide you any worthwhile insight on. But there it is. Shout outs to the whole Australian KI community. That whole is growing daily, literally daily. So it's great to see our little family growing into a big family. Spearheaded by obviously Goat, Chef, and Rowdy Howdy. Shout outs to those guys. And obviously, man, a big shout out to you. Thank you for not just having Anu, but also me, and also streaming the exhibition match the other day for us. Yeah, I mean, we said the same things to Abi when he had us on the B stands, but we really appreciate that people are noticing what we're doing and spreading the word. So thank you so much.
It's all good, man. All good.